They won't need it for the rest of the week. That's a good.
That's a good thing.
We'll see you back here tomorrow, everybody. Chicago Now starts next.
Chicago Now, happy Tuesday. We're just catching up because Anto and I haven't seen each other in
10 days,
like a week and a half.
Yeah, a long time. You were gone. You were unexpectedly gone, at least for me yesterday. I did not know that was happening.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday
thank you.
to Caitlin Cody. She is now, well, I won't mention your age. It's a lot younger than me.
I'm 36.
36.
Yeah. I thought I was 37 yesterday. I was confused. I'm like, wait, no.
that happens to me on all the like off year, you know, the 5s and the 0s. Those are very easy to keep track of.
Sure.
But those middle ones, it's like, I forget all the time.
I'm 40 now, which is crazy.
47, by the way, over here. 47.
Yeah, you look great.
Thank you.
Not a day past 35.
Whew. Caitlin, happy belated, seriously.
Thank you.
And I apologize. I'm belatedly wishing you a happy birthday.
Cares?
I just had no clue.
Listen, adult birthdays don't even matter.
Yeah. Well, 40 does, 50 does. The decades count.
Yeah.
The decades count now.
But the in-between, it's like, who cares? I took yesterday off to take my kids to get cavities filled, unfortunately.
Oh, that was
not about the birthday. It was about the cavities. My kid had to get a cap on her tooth. She had to get the laughing gas. And I tried to explain it to Grady, my husband. Like, I remember being a kid and getting laughing gas and looking into the lights when I was at the dentist, and it looked like there was a bunch of like balloons twisting. And he was like, I don't understand what you're saying. And so then I asked Birdie, like, how did it go yesterday? My daughter, because I was with the baby at home. And she was like, I don't know what you're saying, because I was trying to explain to her too, like, did you see crazy stuff when you were like, you had the gas on your face?
And she said, I don't know what you're saying.
She was like, no, yeah.
So she was fine.
She was fine. Afterwards, she was upset that her face was numb. Like,
oh, she was, yeah, because you can't feel it when they put the Novocaine in there, sure.
Yeah, like if you smile and it's like half.
So both of them had.
Yeah, my Darcy had to get like in between her two front teeth. Look, I'm not proud of this as a parent that my kids had cavities. I'm blaming it on genetics, okay? Bad teeth. My teeth are good. Grady's side of the family, bad teeth. So Grady has to like really focus on like.
So you blamed his genetics.
For sure. It's my husband's genetics.
I do that
That's
all the
why.
time,
It's
too.
not the lack of brushing.
I blame both of my son's allergies on my wife. Gosh.
Stop. It comes from the other one.
Exactly. That's you.
Now,
that is all you.
Partially because I throw the toothbrush at my kids half the time and say, brush your teeth well, and just trust that they do. I don't check.
That is a challenge. Actually, you know, we have Dr. Mira Albert on the show from time to time. Did she give you any advice? Because
I was like, I'm worried. Is this normal? You know.
How, out of curiosity, how do you tell your kids how to position their mouth when you're brushing their teeth? And E. You go with and E?
Ooh, I like that.
Because that's been working for me. It's like, do you want to start with or E? And then he'll be like E.
Wait, that's really cute. Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's what I mean. My dad used that on me.
Yeah.
But he can't rinse, and
I know it. And then they eat.
Can't do it on the self.
They love putting the toothpaste on the toothbrush, but then, you know, spitting.
I think it's time for another visit from Dr. Albert.
Yeah.
Because we need some guidance. I don't remember getting the laughing gas when I was a kid. I remember getting a cavity filled. I don't remember anything pleasant about it.
Yeah, no, it's not fun. The numbing and everything. The sounds.
That little mini drill.
Oh.
Going back there. Going back there. Back left.
Yes. How are you doing? How was your
It was all good. I did my whole West Baden Springs spiel yesterday for Gabby.
Oh, sorry.
So I don't want to repeat, but we had a great time. It's a great family spot in southern Indiana, resort. No one's heard of it. We met our friends halfway. They drove in from North Carolina. We drove down into your neck of the woods through Northwest Indiana. You know, I thought about you when we were passing Fair Oaks Farm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a fun spot to stop. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we actually did stop there, not at the farm itself, but at that exit timed out with our gas.
They've got good snacks and fun indoor activities.
Great.
I went kind of camping inside of a hotel. I could give a quick little spiel if you want.
You have a follow-up to your absolute hatred of indoor swimming pools.
Yes, I have concrete now my decision that I despise indoor pools. Nothing against the indoor pool facilities, okay? Let me just say that off the bat. I can't stand it. I was in the pool facility thinking I need to talk about this because I'm at a 9 out of 10 stress the entire time. It's just, it's the whole being inside, like bare feet in a pool. And this pool was particularly uncomfortable because it was very cold. Yeah, it was just not good.
Which is absolutely unacceptable.
The funniest part to me, though, was the overnight part. So when we go to hotels, because Bodie is still little, he's not even 2 yet, I worry about him falling off the bed. Oh, that just reminds me something I didn't tell you. I'll add to that. Okay, so we get to this place, and it was just, you know, one thing after another. I won't give you the whole spiel, but the overnight part is kind of funny. So I pull mattresses off the bed. If it's able to easily be removed, I set it on the floor when we sleep at night because I sleep next to Bodie, and I get scared that he's going to fall. Anyways, so middle of the night, I woke up to something crawling on my eyelid. So I woke up and I went like that, like, what is on my face? And I looked and it was a roly-poly, which, okay, roly-polies out of all of the species that could be on my face in the middle of the night, like, I'm okay with a roly-poly.
Oh, okay.
So then I like flicked it off, but then I was laying there and thinking there could be other creatures amongst us.
Yeah,
on
where
the
there's
floor.
one. Where there's one.
Right, and we're in like kind of a wooded area, so I got my flashlight out and I was like looking for spiders, like, because the mattress is on the floor. There was no divide between the floor and me on the mattress, so these spiders or whatever creatures could easily crawl up and get in my face again. And then after that, I'm still recovering from my sickness last week, so it's like 1 a.m., get up to go take more cough medicine in the middle of the night, and then I hear, ow, and my 4-year-old fell off the bed. Forgot to tell you that. Darcy fell off the bed. As I'm like walking up, we were a hot mess, okay?
This is, by the way, just this is the tip of the iceberg on your story, because between shows, this was a veritable comedy of errors, and those are just the last two. Is she okay?
Fine.
She's okay?
I picked her up and put her in the mattress with me and Bodie. It was an experience.
Okay.
But the kids had a good time, okay? They had fun.
They had fun. That's the only important thing. Michael Babcock. We have Michael Babcock on the line. I'm not sure if you heard the end of that. A roly-poly was on her right eye in the middle of the night at a hotel.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Right?
I don't know.
Bugs on your face when you're sleeping is not ideal. I mean,
that's not ideal at all.
I woke up one time before we get updated on the headlines into your newsroom, Michael. I do have one similar story. I woke up in a hotel one time.
Yeah.
It was a cabin in Tennessee with 2 fang marks on my lower eyelid from a spider.
hate it.
No.
Hate it.
By the end of the day, that eye was closed.
Stop.
Not kidding.
It was
not kidding.
Did you go to the
Tennessee.
hospital?
It was in Tennessee. I went to the doctor. You bet you I
good.
went to the doctor.
Anti-venom.
They gave me a, I think some kind of antibiotic. It must not have been. I was worried it was a brown recluse spider because it was in Tennessee. My eye eventually returned to normal, but that was quite the stressful day.
It eventually returned.
I feel itchy just talking about
Quite the stressful day.
That is, I'm not going to. I'm staying awake.
Okay.
Yeah, staying awake. Yeah, stay awake. Don't trust anywhere.
Yikes.
Okay, I think we got a couple of serious stories to get to here.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yes.
First up, we reported this on Good Day Chicago this morning. Yet another piece of national news into your newsroom with regard to the Nancy Guthrie case. Get us updated.
Yeah, I mean, it's been weeks since we've heard anything as far as anyone writing any notes to us. Obviously, early on, we received a note from somebody who claimed that they were the person responsible for abducting Nancy Guthrie. But then also, as the weeks went on, we had heard from somebody who said, look, I've got information on the abductors, and I am willing to give that to the family for the price of 1 Bitcoin. So that was their price. And we didn't hear anything for a while. And in many ways, the case went cold. Well, on Monday, we hear from this person again, and we know it's the same person because they are using this completely unique Bitcoin address that they have included in each of their letters to, or each of their messages to us. And so that's sort of like a fingerprint almost in showing that this is the same person writing in. A couple of notable things. So sadly, and if this is all true, obviously, assuming this is true, they say that Nancy Guthrie is no longer alive. I think that's probably the conclusion that a lot of people have come to with the fact that 2 months plus have passed. they say that she is sadly no longer alive. They did say, though, that they saw her when she was still alive in Sonora, Mexico. So this was the first time that they have provided any sort of location outside of just saying Mexico. Last time they had said south of the border or something to that effect. Now they are giving a location. Sonora is a huge place, so it's not that that narrows it down much, but the bottom line is they are giving some sort of detail as to what they say they saw. And again, they're saying, give me one Bitcoin, which is about $70,000. They say millions and millions of dollars have been wasted on this investigation. And if they would have just paid us from the beginning, I would have, I think, served it up on a silver platter was the way that they phrased it in the letter.
So, so the initial contact from this person were they saying at that time before that she was alive still, and this time they're saying that she's not?
The first correspondence, they never said, they didn't say one way or the other. This was the first time where they said anything about whether or not she was still living or not. And obviously what they say is that she's not. But in the previous letters, they had not touched that. I think you got the feeling that it was something that she could still be rescued, but they never explicitly said it back then.
So what's the protocol, Michael, for you guys? You obviously turn this information over to authorities.
Yeah.
And then what does the process look like in terms of assessing the credibility of these incoming messages?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. It's immediately turned over to the FBI before any story's written or not written. So they have it. They have obviously asked for some things over the last couple of weeks. They've asked for, help trying to track down who was sending these messages. And I mean, it's difficult because the reality is it's meant to be an anonymous system where people can reach out anonymously. And because of that, when you've got a situation like this, it makes it hard to try and then figure out who is actually sending the messages. So I don't think it's not just TMZ that's had an issue with that. It's also the FBI clearly that's had an issue with that, as is evidenced by the fact that this person keeps writing in. Because if the FBI knew who this person was, you would imagine that they would find them, and either we would have Nancy Guthrie back, or they would be arrested for, trying to commit fraud, seemingly. So, again, because that hasn't happened, it leads you to believe that not even the FBI knows who this is.
Got it.
Have you guys heard from Savannah in response to these messages at all?
We know that she has them. As far as these latest messages, have they made their way to her yet? I don't think we know that. I know the previous messages, she has gotten them. The family has gotten them, and they've clearly weighed the possibility here that this could be real. But from whatever they are, whatever conclusion they're ultimately coming to, the fact that they haven't paid, I think that says a lot and speaks loudly, because she's got the money. She's done incredibly well for herself financially. So if if $70,000 meant bringing mom home, I think they probably would have done that without any thought.
Michael, what can you tell us about her return to the airwaves? We reported yesterday, I believe, that she's back on the Today Show.
She is, yeah. I mean, it was just over 2 months away. She was, I think, clearly very happy to be back. She loves her job. She loves the people she works with, even more so than the job, from everything we've been told. And this was always something she planned on doing. She was never going to step away and stay away, but it was just a matter of when this was going to happen. It's not the way she would have liked to go back. She obviously would have loved to go back, having her mom back home and have a happy ending here. As of right now, it has not been the case. She didn't say too much about the incident at the top of the show. In fact, she didn't really say anything outside of it's good to be back. And she said, let's get right into the news. So it was kind of business as usual for her. I think for fans, though, it was really nice to see her back behind that desk. There were so many people outside the studio in Rockefeller Center that had signs welcoming her back, and you could really see that people were very pleased that she was back. And she's got a lot of supporters. Still, the most difficult time of her life, though, without any doubt.
All right, another topic, still not a good one. Offset, a rapper and songwriter, has been shot and hospitalized in Florida.
Yeah, thankfully it sounds like Offset is okay. So he was at the Seminole Hotel, the hotel and casino in Hollywood, Florida last night, Monday night, and something happened where he was shot. and he was rushed to the hospital. We have been told that he is in stable condition. The way his people put it was that he was fine, so he might be downplaying things a little bit there, but again, hospital staff says he is in stable condition, so that's great news. Now, there's another aspect to this in that there's another pretty popular rapper, a guy named Lil TJ, who was arrested. Now, it's unclear exactly what happened. He's been arrested as of right now for disorderly conduct, so it's not that he has been arrested for the shooting of Offset, but there is reason to believe that there is some connection between these two events, and I wouldn't be shocked if ultimately the charges change that Lil TJ is facing here. But for now, Offset shot okay, stable condition in the hospital. Lil TJ under arrest for disorderly conduct.
And we're waiting to see if they're connected. Okay, Michael Babcock, as always, thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
you
I'm not
guys.
going to be able to sleep tonight now, but thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Get you some netting.
It's going to be hard. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Man, your heart just goes out to Savannah Guthrie. I cannot, we all come to work, we have to put things to the side when you're at work to kind of lock into what you're doing, and I just cannot imagine the strength that it's taking for her to show up and do a job like this when you've got that lack of closure just weighing on you. It is wild to think about the strength that it's taken probably to do that.
I have thought through, like, if something tragic, happened in my life, coming back and doing this job, I don't blame her for not focusing on that with her first day back. I think I would probably do the same thing, where you just kind of have to block it out and move forward and not kind of keep those emotions at bay. But no, prayers for her and her family. I can't even imagine what that feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Awful. And not surprised that there was a huge, you always see the, behind the window. I'm sure everyone out there giving her a boost.
Yeah.
This is an interesting trending story, Caitlin Cody. An American woman is apparently missing after her husband says that she was swept out to sea.
Yeah.
Kind of a head scratcher here. Here are the details we know so far. An American woman missing. Her husband reports that she fell overboard from a small dinghy in the Bahamas. Let's see, it's April 4th. This allegedly happened April 4th. What is it, April 7th now?
Yeah.
So 3 days ago. Hopetown. They left Hopetown at 7:30 in the morning. They were traveling toward a nearby community called Elbow Cay. The husband says his wife fell into the water while holding the boat's keys, which caused the engine to shut off. Strong ocean currents reportedly carried her away, and the husband lost sight of her before paddling back to shore. So I feel like there's at least a couple of
Questions?
Dateline episodes that come to mind with regard to this exact boats missing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got the ingredients of a kind
bad ending.
Yeah, exactly. Is that what kind of? I mean, it's impossible in our business as a journalist when you cover these stories all the time. It's like impossible for your mind not to go there.
Put yourself in his shoes. Like, what would you do if your spouse fell off a boat in the middle of the ocean? I feel like the first thing you would do is probably jump in after them, or throw them a life jacket or something. But was it storming? He said that the waves were.
He apparently got to land 2 days later. 1 day later, April 5th. Alerted someone who then contacted authorities. So right now, the latest is police in the Bahamas are continuing an active search, but we don't know the woman's identity. That stuff has not been released yet. So it's a wait and see kind of thing.
So he paddled back to shore. That's why it took him a whole day to paddle back to shore. What would you do if Maggie fell off?
Have you ever seen the movie Open Water?
Yeah.
You have? That was one of the scariest movies I've ever seen because it was shot in a very realistic way, but basically the premise is...
Was it a true story or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's based on a true story where this group goes out scuba diving. 35 people on board. They do their thing. 34 of them end up back on the boat, and they leave after a mistaken head count. So this other person... Oh, no, 2 people, sorry. 2 people. It was a couple. They get back from their scuba diving adventure. They pop up to the surface and the boat is gone. And there was a missed, somehow it was a missed head count.
Oh.
And then when you're out in the ocean, I'm surprised this guy like found his way back to land, because those ocean currents, you don't realize it where you're in. I mean, I'm speaking like I have experience with this, but you can drift for miles.
Yeah.
Like miles from where the drop-off point was. You have no idea where you are. You have no sense of orientation. What direction is north? You know, you could use the sun, I suppose. But frightening situation.
Is there anything worse?
No.
Is there anything worse?
And
being stranded in
that's
the ocean?
why that's why it's one of the scariest, because I don't get freaked out with the paranormal stuff
You
so
don't?
much. Those jump scare movies, they don't really
Oh.
go to that gear for me. But this movie, it was shot so like raw.
So what happened? I forget the ending. Did they not make it? They made it. What happened? They didn't make it? Oh no.
Sharks.
Stop.
I'm not kidding. Not kidding. I mean, at least in the movie, I don't know what happened in real life.
No way.
Okay, we're going to take a break on that note and go down Google for the exact answer of reality versus film.
Okay.
More trending topics when we get back right after this short break.
We were just talking about that movie,
Open Water.
Do you want to give the...
Well, ChatGPT, we asked ChatGPT, and it said that the real case is unresolved.
Yeah.
And the couple likely died from exposure, exhaustion, and drowning, as opposed to
Horrible.
sharks.
Yeah, I was thinking on the drive into work this morning about Mother Nature, and you were asking ChatGPT. I literally thought about asking ChatGPT like how to deal with the emotions associated with nature is doing its thing, and I don't even remember what hit me. I think it was.
What about Mother Nature?
Well, I think what it was, I was thinking about my birds, as I do, because
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
Or bluebirds.
My bluebirds in my backyard, and I was thinking about ways that I could like make my backyard a little more naturey. And then I remembered over the summer visiting my parents at their house, and my parents had this. I think I've told this story before. This was just this past summer. A nest of birds. I don't even remember what kind they were, but they were in like a kind of a bush that was relatively close to the ground. And when we went there, my mom was like taking the girls outside to go show them these baby birds that she had been watching, and it was carnage left over.
Oh no.
And I think it was a chipmunk. I'm pretty sure it was a chipmunk because there was a giant chipmunk in Michigan. They're huge around, and I you know, did some research, and I think it was a chipmunk. Anyways, And then I was like, oh my gosh, that is like horribly
Circle of
sad.
life,
The circle
Caitlin.
of life. That's the part that with these
You have
sharks
to come.
and the
Yeah, you have to come
water
back.
and-
Yeah, you have to come back to the circle of life.
But it's just so sad. My baby deer with the coyotes out in the back, you know, just all of it. It's just horrendous. It's
My
horrendous.
4-year-old had a really great a beluga whale documentary on yesterday, narrated by Sigourney Weaver.
Okay.
And this is last night, and there was a scene. Did you know polar bears can jump in the water and hunt beluga whale?
No.
Isn't that remarkable?
Like baby
They
ones?
swim really well. You've seen a polar bear at the zoo, right?
Yeah.
And how well they swim.
Yeah.
But there's this spawning ground right in Hudson Bay where beluga whales, like they have a pretty intelligent communication, and it's where freshwater meets saltwater, and they're able to kind of it's like a spa for them. They rub their skin on the bottom of the surface, and they're able to exfoliate that way.
Yeah.
But polar bears can actually get in the water, and they took down one of the belugas. But that's like, again, you're rooting for the beluga. They're super cute. They've got like the smile.
Yeah.
But again, circle of life. You just gotta like remember that's what happened.
I saw and you know what triggered that for me too was I saw a video on Instagram. It was this guy who does a lot of outdoor photography, and he was showing this spot in the woods where it was like a carved out tree, and he was saying that like one day he was walking through the woods and he jostled the tree on accident, and this mom coyote came out with her teeth, baring her teeth. She ran away, and so he looked inside the tree to see like what was going, why was she so aggressive, and there was a whole litter of baby coyotes.
Like little pups.
So that was the only thing that made me feel better last year thinking about the baby deer was, okay, well maybe there was baby coyotes that needed to eat. They all need to eat. I don't know.
Right.
It's just, your heart bleeds a little bit in nature.
We're going to lighten things up and talk about tailors and dressmakers.
Yeah.
We have a theme that 2026, there is a recurring theme of what is old is new.
Yeah.
What's old is new again. Take us through this, Caitlin.
Okay, so demand for tailors and skilled sewers in the U.S. is rising because it makes sense. The workforce for those sewers, people who know how to do the sewing machines.
Tailored work. That's
specialty things.
Skilled labor.
They're retiring. They're aging out. So customers are increasingly paying higher numbers to alter or repair clothing, secondhand clothing. So Taylor Kilbay is 63, represents a declining group of experienced professionals as young workers entered the field. And this person was saying that the trends like sustainability, thrift shopping, and even weight loss drugs are driving more clothing alterations.
Yes.
Makes sense. And AI can assist with patterns, but cannot replicate hands-on fitting and craftsmanship. The number of tailors, dressmakers, and sewers in the U.S. has dropped about 30% over the past decade. I'm surprised it's not more than that, actually. But the profession skews older with a median range of 54, offers relatively low pay compared to other careers. Immigrants make up about 40% of the workforce, playing a major role in the industry. Companies like Nordstrom and fashion schools are launching training programs to attract and develop.
That's cool. Companies like Nordstrom, fashion schools.
I'm pretty sure they have like their whole section of Nordstrom that will take your dresses that you purchase and they might hem it.
They will alter them.
Alter it for free. So that makes sense. So even though there's a growing demand, many tailors struggle to find successors of a younger age. When I was a kid, I had a little sewing machine.
You did?
Yeah.
Apparently the younger generations are favoring tech-related careers. But like, to me, there's something, so this is loosely related, but we have a single contractor that has been working in our basement. We're doing that renovation. So Maggie is sometimes, they tiled the new shower together. Maggie did it. We're kind of DIY people too, but Maggie did the whole shower. And Al, great guy, he was around doing other projects, and Maggie said his phone just kept going off for other folks that need his services, electricity, plumbing stuff, busting through concrete. These
general contract.
These skills that cannot be, like the demand, point being, the demand for non-tech jobs, there's some stability there. Like there's not an AI, there's not an app that you can download that is going to, I mean, maybe you can get some kind of electric configuration But like you need a human being to come
someone.
and same with the tailors and dressmakers. This is a skill that it's still highly relevant.
I was talking to one of my friends who is an electrician, and I was asking him, like, you know, if you were talking to young folks coming up in school, high school, they don't want to go to college, they want to get into the trades, what would you recommend? Because his dad owned a building company. He said plumbing.
Yes.
He said if you want to make money and you don't want a lot of upfront costs, plumbing, because you always need plumbers, and it's very specific, and you don't have to go to a bunch of schooling like you do to be an electrician. So plumbing or HVAC.
I am not surprised. You do not sleep on these careers. Like the cost, think about it, cost of tuition.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, think about that, 4 years.
And most of it is just garbage anyways. The
that you're not
classes you
going
have to take.
Like a 1 year, even if you do go down like electrician, like, how long is a trade school?
I think it is about a year.
A year
yeah,
or two
and
program?
that's it. And you have experience.
And then you're probably off to the races.
Exactly.
There's unions.
Right.
I mean,
and
don't sleep on these careers. And you know, a lot of this Gen Alpha, Gen Z, you know, a lot of folks are moving away from like their smartphones. They're going for the flip phone. Analog is like vinyl, CDs. Like we've been doing so many stories about this. I would not be surprised if there was a little resurgence here on some of these trade professions. Yeah, I think that young people especially are realizing that the cell phone, the Instagrams, the social medias, it's kind of depressing. So to get out of your phone and maybe work with your hands more. Right.
Yeah, right.
There's something awesome about that.
Could you know how to sew?
No.
If you had to sew a button on your shirt, could you do it?
Nope.
Anthony.
I would have to YouTube it. And actually, I've been wearing this suit, and every time I grab it, I don't remember it till I get to the anchor desk. It's a gray suit.
Yeah.
Heads up, next time I'll do it. It's missing that all-important
middle
button.
Yeah, no, I get it. Some of my stuff, especially like my jumpsuits, the bottoms like will come unhemmed, which by the way, this is just a hot tip.
Mine too.
I got this like hemming tape. Throw that on like the part that's unhemmed.
Right. I
took my hair straightener and just clipped it, like, you know, put the tape in between, folded it up, and put my hair straightener like this across. It worked fantastic.
To seal the deal?
Yes.
Did you turn it on too? The heat?
Yeah, of course. That's why you got to seal it.
Oh, so that healed? Oh, my
God. It
like
glues it together.
How did you think of that? Was that a YouTube?
Tape.
Was that a YouTube? Oh.
You could buy it on
Amazon. I need to do that. That same gray suit has a...
I have some in my locker downstairs. I'll share.
Next time I wear it, we're going to do it.
Needle and a thread to
we're going to do it.
Hems, but that's a quicker and easier way to do it.
All right, Caitlin, it is break time, but I cannot wait for this next segment. We come back in studio. U.S. Army veteran and now seasoned marathoner Mike Sheehy is going to be joining us to recount an unbelievable mission. We've been talking about the Artemis all week. This guy ran a marathon on the continent of Antarctica. He lived to tell the tale, and he's going to do just that right after this break.
10:34. This is going to be a fantastic segment because we were just talking before. There's so many questions. Antarctica. This guy went to Antarctica. Not only did that, but marathoned there. This is Mike Sheehy. He's a U.S. Army veteran and seasoned marathoner who just took the trip to Antarctica. Oh, is this one of your pictures?
Yeah.
These are your photos. Okay, so he's going to give us all the, the befores, the durings, the afters of this trip. So thanks for joining us this morning, Mike.
Wow.
Thanks.
Okay,
Wow.
so the beginning of
Welcome
this.
back.
Thank you very much.
Back.
Yeah, a marathon in Antarctica. How did this even begin?
So again, there's the 6 Star. Abbott's the sponsor for the 6 Star, the 6 majors. It's growing now slowly, but the 7 continents are out there. I've had the opportunity to earn my 6 Star, and so the next thing obviously is taking on the 7 continents. So for me, it was the next natural step, and then came, let's hit off Antarctica and pick up the last 2 after this one.
So this is, you've done 5 of 7?
Antarctica was number 5, yes.
Number 5. And so what's left on your list?
Africa and South America.
I mean, that's low-hanging fruit.
From
what you've done already.
Yeah.
That's low-hanging
Yeah.
fruit.
the journey, yeah.
Okay, so talking about Antarctica, first of all, beforehand, were you nervous? What was the prep like? You mentioned some insurance that had to be purchased. Tell us that.
So it's not your normal marathon, right?
Sure.
There's a lot that goes into it. And last time we were here, we talked about training, and Chicago was the perfect training ground for it with the winter months. It was very cold. So down there, it was below freezing the entire time. You ran in just every climate during that marathon. It went from sun to rain to sleet to snow to nice pleasant snow. So having the Chicago winter really helped me prepare for it. And then the big test was getting there to Antarctica. I underestimated that challenge. You might have heard you can fly to Antarctica and run a marathon, fly back. I think that's sort of cheating the system. We went from Chicago to Houston, Houston to Buenos Aires to Ushuaia, which is the end of the earth. Like, it's the tip of the last part of civilization. And then you have a 2.5 day boat ride to Antarctica, over 600 miles.
Oh no!
Wow.
And that's
What kind of boat was
So
it?
it's a cruise liner, but not a princess cruise.
Yeah.
It's a mid-size, holds about 250 people. On the way down, we had 10-foot waves, and my wife and I were like, "This is bad." Like, we thought that was bad. When we had to come back after the marathon and being down in Antarctica for 5 days, we had 20 to 25 foot swells.
No.
Yes, and it was.
And so you're just, I'm picturing that movie,
Yeah.
The Perfect Storm.
It was not as bad as Perfect Storm, but it was like you see on TV.
Man.
All the plates slide off the table, people falling out of their chairs, falling out of their bed. Their comment that my wife keeps saying to everyone is, Drake-proof yourself, Drake-proof your room. So take your seasick medication and take everything in your room and put it away so it does not roll around. So the adventure isn't just the marathon.
Yeah.
The marathon was great. Running for Team Abbott in Antarctica was amazing. But getting there is half the experience. And once you get to this place, it is just, other than the weather being hostile at times, the most beautiful, peaceful place. The animals are not afraid of you. The water is pristine. The snow is clear. It's just like you go to a whole different part. And I know you're talking about Artemis. It's like going to the moon. Just nothing. And you ask, what's there? Nothing's there. There's a bunch of countries that have research scientists. But other than that, it's just pristine nature, wildlife.
And why would the wildlife have any reason
They don't know people.
They don't know people.
Yes.
So wait, when the boat pulled up, is there a port or
No,
a
there's
dock or
nothing. So
what?
they have to anchor, and that's part of the challenge with the marathon is you pull up in this boat and it sits out in a bay, and then you have to climb into a 10-person Zodiac. So you're in your dry suits and clothes, and they Zodiac you to the
What's a
island.
Zodiac?
Zodiac is a boat that has like a Mercury engine, like a kind of a fishing boat.
Okay.
And you sit on, it's plastic, you sit on the sides, and they take you to the continent. You hop out in the water, you then go to, and then you have to change into your running gear and then kind of mentally switch gears from, hey, I've just gotten all the way here, now let's get to running.
Okay, wait.
That is.
Why are we not flying?
So you can fly.
Oh, okay.
You can fly there, right? It's just there's a cost to it.
Got it, okay.
And typically, there are marathons and events you can do where you can fly there, run a marathon, and fly right back out. We wanted to experience
So you
Antarctica.
wanted to do the boat thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you land and you have that marathon that day.
Yes. So yeah, we pulled into Antarctica the night before. You slept, you woke up at about 5 a.m.
So you slept on the boat.
On the boat, you always sleep on the boat. You don't sleep on Antarctica. You don't sleep on Antarctica. You sleep in the boat, and then they shuffle you over, and it is unlike the great Bank of America Chicago Marathon, there are no like spectators, there's no aid station. So you have to support yourself. So you have it, and you're not allowed to take any wrappers, containers onto the continent. So you have just a small bag you put, and you can see on the photos the tarp. You put it there, and you just, every time you come through, you grab your fuel, leave it there, so you leave no trace.
So how big was the loop that you guys
So ours was a 4 mile, 2 miles out, 2 miles back. But in that, we had the luxury of starting in Russia, going to Chile, and turning around in China and coming back. So that's where the science research centers were at. The funny thing was, everyone's watch would switch to that respective time zone.
The watches are that sensitive?
Yeah, they're all sensitive because, and it was very funny, but not the chrono. The chrono ran.
US, were you on US
No,
territory?
we were not. We were only on the, like I said, Russia, Chilean, and China.
So 2 miles out, 2 miles back, so you had to do the same thing over and over
we did that
again?
6 times, yep.
Okay, all right.
And again, it's for safety.
That makes sense.
It's for safety
to me.
because the weather in Antarctica changes on a dime. Like I said, it's sunny, it snowed on us, it hailed, it rained, right? And so they want to make sure that everyone is being safe and taken care of, and everyone's being seen on a regular basis. Because like I mentioned to you during the break, if something goes bad, if there's a whiteout condition, if there is a blizzard, those scientists at those 3 bases will not open the door because they only have enough supplies, provisions to host themselves, not 100 marathoners. So they have to take care of themselves, and you've got to respect that because Antarctica is 600 miles away from the nearest convenience store.
My eye is twitching just thinking about this. Okay, so you said how many people, 100 marathoners were there?
We started with 120. At the finish, it was approximately about 100 people finished the marathon.
When you guys were done running, did you have the opportunity, I'm seeing some pictures of penguins, to kind of explore the area?
Then we had the next 4 days to explore. So we had the pleasure the next morning. Unlike your typical marathon recovery, we got up at 6:30. We're out the door roughly about onto the boat, you know, the Zodiac again, to then kayak with whales down in Antarctica at 8 a.m. My wife turned to me at one point in the kayak and goes, "Have you ever thought after running a marathon you'd be kayaking with fin whales in Antarctica the next morning?" And the answer is no. So it is 4 nice days of seeing the continent, seeing the penguins, the whales, the seals, albatross, the whole thing.
And what was the temperature like typically? Is it like a Chicago winter all the time?
Yeah, it's always freezing. Hovers around freezing depending on the day, right? I did a time-lapse video for our kids just to show them. It showed sunny, and then 45 minutes later, just dumping snow on us. So we had all the different climates, but typically freezing is the highest you get, so 0.
So albatross, fin whales, penguins.
All sorts of penguins,
All sorts of different.
And just for the viewers out there, polar bears are not in our Antarctica. There are no polar bears there. They had to say that like a dozen times on the trip. They are just in the Arctic.
Do we know why people are not living
there?
I
was wondering that too.
So
it's cold, but
Antarctica, it's been governed as for peace, right? It is not to be owned by any one country. There's a United Nations that governs it to make sure it is kept, preserved, and safe. But that's why no one lives there.
Are there any? Okay, so looking at the topography. It's mountainous, it looks like.
Very mountainous, and that's one thing you didn't tell me preparing for this, because I prepared in Chicago. It is a very hilly terrain, very hilly. And so the ground, we were lucky it didn't snow for 2 weeks prior to in that area, enough to accumulate. So we did run on the shale, kind of gravelly, really loose rock. For the whole thing, and it was a lot of hills.
Like up and down.
One thing they didn't tell us, and I would share with any future runner, is you need to add an hour to your average marathon time.
Oh, sure.
And so it was really interesting because I did know that. We had, some aspirations of running. Really, then when we got there, you're like, this is a whole different experience.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about the people who actually make the trip to Antarctica. You mentioned the scientists that stay there, live there, basically, when they're taking their observations. Marathon groups come. Who else takes trips out there?
Just-
Photographers?
Yep.
Or?
A lot of photographers, tour groups head down there. So again, there are groups you can go down and explore Antarctica with, you know, another type of tour group that doesn't have the marathon attached. We did it with Marathon Tours and Travel. Again, something that we felt was the best to, one, make sure we were safe, but also to take care of Antarctica.
Is there any plant life on Antarctica?
So I'm not a naturalist,
Yeah.
but I will say I didn't see much. I mean,
So
there's a
it was
little
rock.
Yeah.
It was basically rock.
Yeah.
I know we got, yeah, that's wild.
Man,
This
is
could go
so
on
cool.
for days. We got to have you back on.
that
tomorrow.
is so
So many
cool.
questions. Okay, let's talk about the World Marathon
Yes.
Majors. What's coming up next,
Yep.
and a little more about this program.
Yep, so the World Marathon Majors, obviously Antarctica is not part of it, but we do have the Boston Marathon coming up. We then have London right after that one. So I will be running, I've qualified in and running the Boston Marathon. So very
Congratulations.
excited
That
to
is
be doing that.
Caitlin, that's not easy. And qualify for Boston.
And so,
That's a big deal.
so it's nice again with the pacemaker. So if you have a pacemaker, you can still qualify in. Again, then off to London, and then the next big one for us is Cape Town. Cape Town is looking to become the next major, and so we will be flying down to South Africa I will pick up my 6th continent with my wife, and we'll be able to learn about all the history of South Africa and Cape Town, as well as hopefully make it a World Marathon major.
You brought
Living
in
life to the
it looks like
fullest.
you got a little prop there.
Well, I have a little prop, just this. It's what was actually on the course. Because I will say it was the only marathon I've ever run where I actually had penguins cross the course. Like, we've had all sorts of wild animals in the history
Cross
the course. I've never had
You're like,
that.
do
Did
you
you
mind?
stop and like watch?
Oh
them?
yeah, you stop because one is amazing,
Yeah.
and you want to give them space, and that's just one of the things down there is you give
And
them.
they had no fear.
They had no fear. And then they noticed we weren't running that fast, so they weren't out to get us. But what I want to do is I give away my medal every time I run a marathon to someone who has been a big supporter. ChicagoNOW has been a big supporter of me and my journey. So I would like to give to the ChicagoNOW team and everyone here
Guys.
the Antarctica Marathon medal. And
my
hopefully, I know he's not here, but Jake hasn't run the Chicago Marathon. If he wants to, I would love to run the Chicago Marathon with him, help train him, get him ready
Wait,
for
Jake?
it.
Jake?
Yeah. So we'd love to have him come run if he can, but
Look at
again,
this.
for the ChicagoNOW team, I would like to
my
give you guys the
gosh.
Antarctica Marathon.
I'm sorry, did you say you want me to run 26 miles
and I will run it
in
with
a
you.
row?
I will run it with you.
Are we being chased?
Honestly.
It has to happen now.
We can do it. I'll help you
He's
with
giving
it. I'll
you his
train you.
medal.
I pulled a muscle walking up the stairs to come to the studio.
Jake, come
We'll
on.
train.
Okay, we'll do
This
it.
is awesome. You guys see
So
this?
cool. Jake,
I
you
just walked in
got to
the door.
check
This
it
is
off the
not
bucket
bad.
list.
Wow.
Look at this.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank
Thank you for ChicagoNOW and all of you supporting, Team Abbott, Heartmates, everything we do at Abbott. So thank you so much, and love to continue to work and partner
We
with you
gotta
on that.
we need like.
Congratulations.
Visit us after Cape Town too.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I want to hear
Inspiration.
about that too.
We'll do
What
it.
a cool
Amazing.
thing, and I could talk to you forever about this
And
experience.
again, if anyone is interested in Team Abbott, Abbott.com marathon, sign up, join, tell us your story. We'd love to have you come run the Abbott World Marathon Majors with us. And again, thank you so much for having me and sharing our story.
Oh my gosh, come back anytime.
Yeah.
All right, Mike Sheehy, everybody. Amazing. Bring it in. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be right
That was
back.
awesome. That was awesome.
Thank you.
See this
Yeah.
thing.
Wow. 50, welcome back. This reminded me, we were just talking about marathons. Okay, maybe if you don't want to run a full marathon, before I had kids, I was doing something called vacation races, and it's half marathons at all of the national parks. Highly recommend.
Cool.
It is super cool. So I did Zion and Glacier National Park. So I'm looking at their website now. So you can roll
still do
through.
that?
Yeah. Great Smoky Mountains, Mount Rushmore, every single one. And they're like the most beautiful little icons. Grand Teton,
Yes.
Yosemite. So it's a good excuse to travel to these locations. It looks like they've got 5K and half marathon
That's such a good
options.
idea.
And then you could hit all the national parks.
So you've done 2 of those.
2 of them.
And
then
so
I had
they
Vegas.
take you through, so it's like a circuit. So they take you through, like they're all on the calendar, and the challenges, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
kind of a normal person, a
Yeah.
civilian version of what Mike does, except it's at the national parks.
So Zion's in February, Yosemite's in May, Yellowstone's in June, Glacier is in June, Mount Rainier is in July, Rocky Mountain in August, Great Smoky Mountains in August. So you can go onto their website, Vacation Races, and see when they are. It was
What
such
a
good
cool
experience.
idea.
Zion, no, Glacier. Glacier was interesting because we were just speaking with our guest about how he had penguins crossing. When we were at Glacier National Park, we went on the Native American land. And during the race, it's very mountainous there too. They had, the Native Americans they had a group that were driving 4-wheelers along the race track to deter bears from going onto the race area. So you're running along and they're riding their 4-wheelers
To protect
up and down.
you guys from bears.
Yes, from grizzly bears. Which
Oh man.
talk about it's a little bit of stress,
Yeah.
because Glacier is, and you go to Glacier and it's like everywhere you look. Now, mind you, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been in.
I went there once too.
Oh, you have?
I rode my bike through there, and I remember. You know what?
Yeah.
You just cued a memory. I do remember being a little bit like,
They have
oh my gosh,
signs.
is there going to be a bear?
Bear spray.
Yes.
Have your bear
Yeah,
spray
yes.
everywhere you look. And so
Yes.
then the whole time you're there, you're thinking, I'm going to be attacked by a grizzly bear. It's a spooky experience, but it is the most beautiful place. It's interesting to hear, like, Antarctica, how if you go there, like, good luck, because nobody's there to help.
No one's there to help you.
Nobody's going to save you if you fall.
Caitlin, I was in Glacier Park with my dad. We were on this cycling trip, and I'll never forget the sign I saw there. Not the bear sign, but we went back to this amazing waterfall that was so white because of the way it was configured that it looked like, it didn't look real. It was just white water just snaking through the, and the sign as you return to the parking lot said, like, now take time to pause and reflect on what you have just seen. Like it tells you.
Yeah.
Take a moment to just reflect on what that sign stuck with me
It's
as much as the
fantastic.
waterfall itself.
We also, speaking of another national park, Yosemite and signs. I went to Yosemite on my honeymoon, and we were hiking, and they had signs of squirrels. And on these squirrel signs, it said, watch out for the plague. Or like, these squirrels could hold the plague, I believe. It said the plague. I was like, what? I forget. I'll have to look at it.
That actually, we reported plague
Yeah.
like last year. It does
Yeah.
pop up. Like,
Squirrels, for whatever reason, and I was like, this is also scary.
that actually rings a bell.
So
That
prepare
rings a
yourself
bell.
at these parks.
Caitlin, we got a couple of trenders to get to
Yeah.
before we have to wrap. Were you a Friends fan back in the day? Are you too
Ish.
young? She just disclosed to me, and I probably could have done this with the math. Caitlin just celebrated her birthday yesterday. Happy belated once
Thank you,
again.
thank you.
1990. You were born in 1990.
1990?
Jake's right here. I'm going 1994 on Friends. Is that when it started?
Yeah, but it's been on for
Well, yeah,
syndication.
30 years.
You know,
So
yeah.
early 90s. So you would have been just a tiny little
Just a
thing.
tiny tot.
But you know Phoebes?
Yeah, of course.
You know Phoebes?
Of course.
Thank you. 1994 to 2004 is when Friends, like, that was when it first aired.
Yeah.
Lisa Kudrow said she, quote, flew under the radar as Phoebe on Friends, recalling, quote, nobody cared about me in a recent interview. She was referred to by some in her talent agency as the sixth friend. Reflecting a lack of career vision or expectations, Kudrow noted that people thought she was just lucky to get on Friends, but this freedom allowed her to explore more diverse roles. So, you know, this surprised me that she thought of herself in that way. I did not think of her. I don't know how familiar you are with Friends, but it really felt to me like that was a You know, in the NBA, they have like the sixth man award. There was no, like that, to me, and again, I wasn't like a major Friends fan, but I watched it. I probably watched a good portion of these episodes. I probably watched 60% of the show. And she seemed to me as involved as anyone else on the show.
I agree with her, though. I think, and to me, I think the reason why is because didn't they all date each other except for Phoebe?
Maybe.
So like they were all kind of intermingled.
Oh yeah, they're characters because Chandler and Courtney Cox, Monica.
Yeah.
And then of course David Schwimmer and Rachel.
Jennifer.
I'm mixing up their real names with their.
Sure.
And then Joey. Joey had a thing with Monica a little bit, right? And Rachel.
So you see, they were all kind of like canoodling except for
her. So maybe that's why. So she didn't get you're right. She didn't really get a
She
love.
felt to me like she was left out a lot. She wasn't one of the roommates.
Most memorable thing she did for me was the smelly cat guitar.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Jake?
Smelly cat.
Why are you staring at me?
But I did see, I saw a lot of comments from, passionate Friends fans, and they were saying she's the reason I watched Friends.
Yeah.
She was a little bit goofy and funny, and I feel bad. I mean, that's kind of sad. Was she one?
That she felt like that, but listen, she won an Emmy in 1998 for Best Supporting Actress for Phoebes.
Supporting actress.
Yeah.
So if you're a supporting actress, are you like?
These are Jake Hamilton questions. You're mic'd up, right, Jake?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Would Jennifer Aniston or Courtney Cox have been a Best Lead Actress at the Emmys?
I believe they all went for supporting.
Okay.
Because
there wasn't a lead, right?
Because it's an ensemble.
It's an ensemble. Thank you, Jake Hamilton.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's. I remember a line from the Four Seasons play that was Jersey Boys, where the fourth Jersey Boy is, imagine being in the Beatles and you're Ringo. You know what I mean? And if that goes over your head.
Yeah.
Well, George, John, and Paul were a little more. I guess they were more popular. But that's apparently how she felt. She felt like she was kind of the Ringo Starr of the Friends cast. But no, we love you, Phoebes. We love you, Phoebes. Okay, I don't know if we have footage of this, but Dylan Brooks, do we have this footage? He's going viral for his pregame ritual today, guys. Maybe we're out of time. I need to see this thing because it looks apparently like he's just staring off into complete space.
Stop.
But that's really his
He's like getting into the mental spot.
He's getting into the mental spot.
Oh no. Okay, so he's just staring into the distance. Several clips of him doing this, locked in.
We show it. We have it
for the game before tip-off. And actually, in the first clip, he's staring down Benny the Bull, who was not captured in the video. That is hilarious. Listen,
I guess we don't
Dylan Brooks, do what you gotta do.
Do your thing.
Get in your mental space.
Do what you. There we go. Oh, there it is. Thank you.
Okay, no, this is a little bit strange, actually. I take it back. I take it back. Wait, I'd be so scared if he was staring at me like this. What?
He is locked in.
What is happening?
Caitlin, tomorrow before Good Day Chicago, if you see me in the corner.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just getting in the zone.
Look, he's confident. I'll give him that. He doesn't care what anybody thinks.
There he is.
All right.
Now he's ready to go.
He's back.
We're going to take a quick break. Jake,
I'm doing it right off camera.
Jake's pregame ritual. We got another hour of Chicago Now. Hope your Monday, Tuesday.
Happy
Hope your Tuesday's going great. We're back after this.
I know.
I sound amazing.
dokie. Welcome back to Chicago Now. Good to have you, Jake Hamilton.
I'm happy to be here. How are you?
I'm really good. The sun is shining. I
It
say
is.
it all the time. I'm really just making an observation. But it's nice to see, especially, it just feels like it's been a long winter and we finally deserve some sunshine.
Well, you know, it's so funny.
Warmer weather.
I feel like, you know, I was listening to Mike Kaplan earlier this morning on Good Day Chicago, and he was saying that today is kind of like that last winter day, hopefully, of the season, because the trajectory looking forward, it's all beautiful weather and we're moving into the 70s. But outside, it's not. You know, I was just out there. I was out live for Good Day earlier this morning. It's not that bad.
It's not horrible. Yeah,
no,
I know.
Like with a boy's large jacket, I was doing just fine.
Well, extra large now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As the White Sox.
Yeah, exactly
so
right.
funny,
Yeah.
He was in on it. I know, because when I went out this morning, I was like, okay, yeah, it's chilly, but it's not horrible. I'm hearing the birds chirp. Like, they're signs of better days to come.
It's beautiful. And, you know, honestly, for me, it's all about the fact that the sun's setting after 7 o'clock, you know, that's what I'm all about. For me, it's those 4:30 sunsets.
You know, it was so funny now that I'm looking at this monitor and I'm seeing my literal bright yellow dress.
It's
this
great.
morning we had
It's
total
a wonderful
Michigan
dress.
Wolverines colors going on.
Yeah, on purpose or on accident?
No, on accident.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? It's springtime. I'm going to wear a bright yellow dress. And then Mike Kaplan rolled in. I saw him, and he's wearing a blue suit with a yellow tie.
Stands
Anthony
to reason.
was also wearing some navy blue as well.
We've got some Wolverines in the newsroom. I know.
Do we?
Director Mike DeCappa.
Is he?
Is right, guys?
Okay.
DeCappa's a Wolverine.
Maybe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I'm just going to believe you, Blaine.
Yeah. I mean, it stands to reason. We're in Illinois, that there would be some Wolverines
so we got away
around.
with it. It was unintentional, but
And you
it happened.
didn't do the bracket. You didn't do your.
Yeah, no, I did. And
Yeah.
I had Duke winning, just like Caitlin. Actually, Caitlin and I think had really similar
brackets.
Really similar brackets. We both ended up, kind of kicking ourselves in the butt, but
I mean,
it was a good guess. It was a good guess.
I went with University of Houston.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah, that's where I went to school. They're my alma mater. I had no idea that they were going to end up playing
that well.
The Illini and then losing to the Illini.
Well, here's the thing with basketball. Like, I'll watch it on and off, like the big games, but college basketball, I'm not really watching until March Madness, so I'm really just truly doing a guess.
Yeah. I mean, I got to be honest with you.
It ends up.
Most people are just guessing.
Yeah.
And I often find that the people who know the most going into these bracket tournaments end up just completely first game, their bracket's busted. It's the people who say they've got a cool mascot, I'm going to go for them. Those are the people that end up winning the entire thing.
Oh, Anthony was telling me that his son, out of like a group of, I think it was 90 people, dad's son, he was like part of like a camp. Theo won.
No.
He won.
That also doesn't surprise me. Theo's cool.
Yeah,
Theo's
seems like he's really caught up on the sports and stuff.
But I'll tell you, in fantasy one year, we lost a guy, and so one of the guy's girlfriends jumped in at the last minute to fill a spot. And granted, we're guys that we follow football all year. We do the practice drafts and everything. She legit picked on smoked us.
No
by
way.
Far.
That is so funny.
And we never let anyone's girlfriend go in ever again. Because we all felt so terrible about ourselves after.
You've learned your lesson. All right, well, here's what we have coming up.
We got a lot of great stuff.
Comedian Tommy Davidson is coming on. And I told you I remember him from The Proud Family. He was the voice of Oscar Proud.
Yeah, I love Proud Family. Disney
he's
Channel.
also a musician. He's an actor. Obviously, he does stand-up. He's a comic. So he's going to be playing over at Chicago Improv. I think it's this weekend on Sunday.
It's going to be great. And we've had him on the show. He's hilarious. So it's going to be a great show.
I can't wait.
Also, a book I'm really interested in hearing about. It's about PR nightmares. We deal with PR folks on this side of it. We get pitches of like, hey, come out and cover this.
Bad.
Yeah, and so I'm really, really interested in hearing about this. But first, we got to talk about the Bulls.
We do.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with the Bulls. And when it comes to talking about the Bulls, there's few people I like hearing from more than our next guest. Mr. Mark Carman is on the line. Mark, good to see you, my man. We were just talking about brackets. I got to ask, before we get to the Bulls, how was your bracket this year?
Jake, it didn't go particularly well, but I enjoyed, shockingly, my alma mater, the Iowa Hawkeyes, making a run to the Elite Eight. So it was a really fun tournament. We talked yesterday. I was the genius on the show that said that the Michigan Wolverines would win last night. So I mean, you can't. I mean, the brilliance that I brought yesterday. I assume you guys are sending me a raise, and I appreciate it.
That's true, Mark. Actually, I shouted you out this morning.
we're doubling your salary of 0. So we're going from zero to 0, baby.
0-0. Yeah. There you go, Mark.
Oh, man.
Yeah, let's talk about what's happening with the Bulls. I'm not going to even try to pronounce, what was it, the VP's name, but GM and VP, they're out.
Yeah, well, Gabby, it's fitting that you, after 6 years here, you still don't know how to pronounce his name. Neither does the rest of Chicago. Arturas Karnisovas, I believe, is correct. He treated us to nothing. They did finally move on. Let's put it like that yesterday, and long overdue. Arturas certainly was not a dynamic personality. Neither was Mark Eversley. That wouldn't have mattered, of course, had they built a winning basketball team. But really, all the Bulls got out of those two was one half of a good season of basketball when Lonzo Ball was healthy. And then he got injured and never recovered, and that was the excuse for why the roster fell apart, and just some really, really bizarre decisions. And listen, as Jake mentioned, I've been, the Bulls have always been like, that's what I grew up on. I was a fan before Michael got here, and then Jordan got here, and it was the greatest thing that the city has ever seen sports-wise, including, at least for me, the Cubs of 2016, even the '85 Bears, which is obviously probably number one for everyone else. But it was a great time. The Bulls were the thing to do. Going to the United Center Chicago Stadium was it, and it just it got back when Derek got here. But then Derek got hurt, and that was the end of that, and they haven't been able to figure it out since.
Mark, I got to ask, 6 seasons feels like long enough so that if they were going to make a difference in the positive direction, it would have happened. Do you think 6 seasons was enough of a chance, or should we be having this conversation about getting rid of them sooner? Should they have gotten 6 seasons worth of chances?
Yeah, no, they absolutely should not have. You could have. I'm not exactly sure what the point would have been. Year 3, year 4. It certainly should have been in year 5. Look, they did bizarre things at the very start of it. They gave up draft picks and Wendell Carter to trade for Nikola Vucevic, and a lot of people liked that trade. I'm like, where do you think you're going with? Basically, they were just trying to zoom to the middle. There was no vision of how to get to have a real sustained winner. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. It's not going to work. It didn't work. They went, old man DeMar DeRozan, who was a great player, but again, you're like trying to get to the middle and have some level of competence, and which soured Bulls fans, because you're not really trying to win. You're just trying to fill the United Center. Having an actual vision of how to get to the top, like fans are willing to be at the bottom or close to the bottom where the Bulls are right now, if you're actually trying to, you see a plan and trying to hit a home run. There was never any signs of that with Mark Eversley and or Arturas, and that's why there's so much noise from every corner of sports media and from the fandom today, and it's why Michael Reinsdorf finally had to make a move.
Mark, I have a question. Maybe it's too early, but if I'm not wrong, these two brought in Billy Donovan, right? So where do you think he stands, knowing that these two are out, that they're obviously trying to maybe do a clean house situation here?
So that's a good underlining, Gabby, because that was one of the best things that this regime did. Billy Donovan has dealt with an talent, I might say talentless, but just a roster that was devoid of enough talent to win. And he just kept things professional. Never went at the organization, didn't go at players, has been a complete professional. And, this is a guy who's a multiple-time champion on the NCAA level, who's been to the finals in the NBA with Oklahoma City. He's been an absolute professional, and the Bulls love him. So what's his role going forward? Does he get kicked upstairs? Does he continue to be the head coach? Clearly, I think the Bulls would like to find a place for him. But if you're going to bring in a big-time GM here and spend some serious money to turn this around, he might want to have his own head coach. And I don't think Billy would want to stay if he doesn't feel like really wanted. So this is to be determined. It has happened recently where head coaches have stayed and the GM coming in, hey, you're going to work with Billy. Are you cool with that? They could go that route. But that's an interesting discussion that it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I love Billy. If he's still here, that's fine with me, but I get the other side too.
Mark, everything you're saying makes total sense to me, but just to play devil's advocate for a second, I'd imagine you could be the best VP, the best GM, there's not a lot that you can do if your players are injured. You know, if their injuries are plaguing your team, there's not a lot you can do there. And you know, they started out the season really strong, and there was even a moment we were like, okay, like, are we back? Like, is this it?
Yeah.
And then it's been a very injury-plagued season. Do they get any grace for dealing with injuries, or to your point before, it's 6 seasons in, if they were going to do something, they would have done something by now?
Jake, I'm going to go with 0 grace.
Okay.
You know, they were. I mean, Kobe White started the year injured, but no, look. The roster was not going to do anything. If this roster had been completely healthy, maybe they would have been back to the play-in game once again. I mean, which does nothing. It's like the worst place you can possibly be. They also, what they did with their assets, if you weren't going to keep Kobe White, you should have traded him in the offseason and actually gotten some real value instead of second-round picks. And then not even getting all the second-round picks that you traded when he showed up hurt in Charlotte and he didn't pass his physical, and they took one of the second-round picks back. Ayo Dosunmu was one of the great stories of this regime, picking him in the second round. First class on the court, first class off the court, guard, scores, got better every year. You dump him at the deadline for nothing, and now he's, you know, having a great renaissance in Minnesota. That made 0 sense. You know, you had to have some pieces going forward. You're getting nothing for him. At this point, you might as well keep him. But if you were going to trade him, he had a lot of value back in the day where you could have gotten something. So they literally have done as many things wrong as you could possibly do. Extend Patrick Williams, who you picked 4th overall as a bad draft choice, and then you double down and sign him to a $90 million extension that literally nobody in the NBA would have given him. Like, it's just really been bizarre, the choices that they've made.
You know, what would you say, Mark? Because it seems like things are just adding up, and hearing from your point of view, it makes even more sense. Like, these are some of the details, like, just we didn't know, not being a super fan like yourself. What was, like, kind of the last straw, though? Was it, because some people are kind of blaming this Jaden Ivey situation that was going on, right? The getting of Jaden Ivey and then now waiving him because of things that happened off the court.
Well, right. So Ivey's one of the guys that got back at the deadline and deals that netted them next to nothing, right? And that going sideways to the level that it did, where he's got a knee injury, he can't play, and then he's bringing the Bible into the locker room to players, to reporters, and just super awkward. And people, this was, you know, if you had asked anybody in Detroit, this is the road that Jaden had been going down, you know, since he started to get, since, you know, his career was going the wrong way with the Pistons. And look, obviously everybody is entitled to any belief that they have. I mean, that's, I think that's, you know, locker room life 101. But when you're trying to put your beliefs on everybody, well, that doesn't work in an NBA locker room, an NFL locker room, an MLB locker room. It doesn't work at work. So it was just a really awkward spot, and the Bulls had to get rid of him, and there was a lot of noise around it. So I do think that maybe sped up the process of, you know, Arturas and Mark being out the door, because there was so much negative press. And the Bulls don't like that. You know, they want... people will say that the Bulls don't want to win, they just want to fill the seats. Well, they do want to fill the seats, but ideally, sure, they'd love to win too. They just don't know how to do it. So, you know, if you're not winning and you have bad press, well, then that is going to force them to make a maneuver. So I do think the Jaden thing maybe, you know, got things moving a little quicker than it would have, but I still think we would have gotten to the same point.
Mark, I want to ask you a big hypothetical. Imagine this afternoon the Bulls pull up to your front yard and back up the Brinks truck and say, Mark, you're our new VP, or you're the new GM. Here's, you know, sign on the dotted line. What is decision number 1?
Well, so they have $65 million in cap space, Jake. I'm going to go into the super nerd basketball corner right now.
Let's do it.
For this question. So, and the free agent class is not very appealing. There's not some dynamic guy that's going to turn this around. To me, you need to get as many draft picks as possible. So I would look to do things like take on bad contracts from other teams, because the Bulls will have space to do it. And for taking that guy on, I will now get I will take a draft pick as well, first round pick, and build up as much of a war chest as possible to be able to go out and acquire players, draft players. Look, the Bulls might have 2 first-round picks here, depending on what happens with Portland. It seems to be trending that way. They're going to have a lot of money to spend. Guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo are out there. That's not going to be a one-stop fix, and Giannis is getting to the back end of his career. So, sure, I'd love to see him here. That would fill the seats, and Giannis would be exciting. But I think you really have to think long-term here. And sadly for Bulls fans, some people are saying this is a quick fix. I don't see that. I see this as hopefully you build a young roster and you get lucky in the draft with a star and you build around them. And then you can have some sustained success here, and the United Center will be filled back up again, and it'll be a lot of fun for everyone.
So if you want to be realistic, if you want to be conservative, if you're a fan and you're waiting on things to be turned around, how long are we talking realistically?
I mean, I would think that you would, first of all, I mean, you have a couple of young talents in Josh Giddey and Modest Buzelis who are, interesting, and Modest will be going into his 3rd year. These are guys you can build around. Now, I would entertain, listen, everything's on the table. What's Modest worth out there? It's not who I would trade, but it depends how the GM views him. Does he think he's a superstar in the making? Then obviously you're keeping him. If he doesn't, that's a very valuable piece that you could move along from, which would be unpopular, but might be the right thing to do. Somebody's got to evaluate that talent a little bit better than I can right now. I see a guy who's got a lot of bounce, who is shooting it better. I'm not 100% certain, though, he's a star. I think a very good player. So that's an interesting option. Same thing with Giddey. Good player, but not a great defender and average shooter. So not great. So both those guys have a long way to go to really become premium players in the NBA. Are you betting on them? I think you are. Now I'm honestly forgetting the question that you asked me here, Jake.
No, I have a quick follow-up before we let you go, because I'm a big believer of, don't go buy someone's jersey unless you know that they're going to be a part of the team for a while. You don't want to buy the hot player and then have them be traded in the next 2 or 3 years. Is there anyone on the Bulls right now whose jersey you would buy?
Yeah, who should we buy?
I mean, I think the safest purchase is the 2 guys I just talked about, but honestly, I wouldn't buy anything.
I think that says a lot. I think that's telling.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy anything that has the Bulls on it until you see a morsel of a sign that something good is happening here. And we did get that yesterday. But at least let them hire the GM and let him have a good press conference and let him sound like he knows what he's doing, and then see him do something that's positive. And then, when you hear sort of the direction there, and if he comes in here talking about how much he loves Modest Buzelis and we're going to build around him, then go get yourself a Buzelis jersey and or a Giddey jersey. But right now, I highly recommend being in a holding pattern, and I'm not sure what go get yourself maybe a Caleb Williams jersey or my guy Tyson Bagent, the greatest backup in the NFL right now.
Mark Harmon, I could honestly talk with you all day. Really quick before I let you go, I always love asking, I'm a movie nerd, and I love asking this question with people who know what they're talking about. In your eyes, what's the greatest basketball movie of all time?
The greatest basket. Can I do a documentary? Is that too late?
Yeah. A documentary is the right answer.
Okay, well, Hoop Dreams is the greatest
there
basketball.
it is. See, this is why Mark Harmon knows what he's talking about.
I'm surprised, Mark, you didn't say High School Musical or something like that along those lines. No? Okay. All right, Mark.
Hey, look, I mean, Hoosiers was great and all that, but Hoop Dreams, if you want to learn about dudes who love the game, who come from nothing, who put it all out there, real life, how basketball recruiting works. Those guys are still out there, Arthur Agee and William Gates. I watch that movie, Jake, like once every 2.2 years on the minimum, because it just makes me. I love the story, and it was a phenomenal job done over I think a 4-year period, whatever it was.
I love that's your answer. That's my answer as well. Really quick, Mark Harmon, let people know where they can find you outside of Chicago Now.
So we're the CHGO Bears podcast is a daily 1 o'clock. We're talking Bears every single day, Monday through Friday, or anything breaks or whatever, and then of course pre and post. So we're in the off season. We're getting ready for the draft, baby. So that'll be we're honing in on who the Bears are going to pick at 25 and 57 and 60. Let's go here.
Mark, let's keep this.
I love talking. It's like talking to my buddies. That's why I love talking to Mark.
We talked to him yesterday. We talked to him today. So what's next for tomorrow, Mark? We got to figure it out. We will see you soon.
Wherever you want to go, I'm around. So
You're the best.
Mark, appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you. See you later.
That's awesome. I don't often get to do segments with Mark, so I always love when I get to do. They try to keep the two of us apart because we could go the entire hour. So no, I'm a big Mark.
You know what? Again, yes, I love following sports, but basketball isn't really my strong suit anymore.
Sure.
Honestly, women's basketball, I feel like I actually know a little bit more about.
Sure.
I should have asked him about the Angel Reese trade.
Well, now you know what to bring him back for.
Now we know what our topic is going to be for tomorrow. Okay, but all seriousness,
we are over a third of the way through the show.
Yeah, we are. And comedian Tommy Davidson is joining us right after this break, so please stay with us. Welcome back. It seems like every so often, right, there's this big PR nightmare that we hear about, especially in the news. Well, have you ever wondered how PR teams try to handle it? For example, you remember the Boeing 737 MAX crisis, where all those flights were canceled.
Yeah, of course.
Through the whole thing. I think it was 2020 around that time.
Mormon wives?
Tell
me that they're not in a PR situation right now.
But we're talking mostly about the Boeing 737 MAX crisis. So Bradley Acubiro was the head of media relations for the company, and now he's written a book all about it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Can we also give a shout out? You look fantastic.
Yeah, you do.
You look great.
You look like a true PR professional.
Listen, let me tell you, I'm trying to be like you guys out here. You make it hard.
Look, I'm in jeans and boots and a boy's large jacket.
Pull it off.
Like, come on, man. Can we see the cover of the book? Let's show this off.
I matched the book, actually.
Listen, oh, come on.
That's true, actually. That's almost
fantastic.
a perfect fit.
I planned it.
Oh, and can we give a shout out to the person who gave the blurb on the top?
Absolutely. Reverend Jesse Jackson. I worked for him for a number of years right here in Chicago. He taught me so much about what it means to actually be a leader during some of these really turbulent moments. And so, you know, I think the funeral services were beautiful. I think his family has handled this all incredibly well. But he's meant so much not only to Chicago, but to the world and to me personally. So this meant a lot.
And you had the chance to read it before it was published in advance?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Oh, how cool is that? You know, based obviously what this book is partially based off of is this whole experience with what I mentioned, the Boeing 737 MAX. Can you explain to me, just for people at home, you know, we saw it from the news point of view. How about your point of view? What parts do you play in this?
Yeah, well, I'll talk just a little bit about it, and I want to definitely talk more broadly about crisis communications and kind of what's come out of this. But I will say, Boeing in 2018 and 2019 found itself in a very challenging situation. Most popular aircraft within the company's fleet had actually two different circumstances. In 2018, a crash in Indonesia, and then 2019 in Ethiopia. And I think the moment that created was a crisis of confidence in the brand. People didn't know whether they could trust when they got on a plane, whether they were going to make it to point A or point B. And so this is something that the company had to think a lot about. I was brought in to lead media relations, and how do we really do three things, right? Reestablish kind of a level of accountability, a level of transparency, and frankly, humanity to how we talked about these issues openly. And I think the company's done a great job since then, but it has been a period of time, and that the rebuild is tough.
Bradley, I'm always curious. Take me to that moment your phone rings, because I always like to sort of reduce everything down to that initial moment, that we have a problem phone call. Like, what is that like for someone in your position? Your day's going normally, there's no issue, everything's fine, smooth sailing, and then your phone rings.
Until it's not.
What is that moment
Until
like?
it's not. Well, usually your heart drops down to your stomach.
Sure.
You know, and it depends on what's on the other line. You know, some of these things can be really, really, really tragic, right? If you're talking about loss of life or a situation that impacts safety, then you've got to move really, really quickly, because the thing that you want to do is not only stem the panic, which in a lot of cases is very high in these moments, but you also want to give folks trust that you have the situation under control. And if there are instructions of what people need to do to maintain safety in their own situation, you've got to get that out there quickly. So you got to snap out of it really, really fast. I will say, you know, when you were thinking about just about any crisis situation, whether this is, you know, a product safety issue, a personal safety issue, or a celebrity crisis, the thing that you've got to do when you're the person in this seat is be the calming voice in the room. You want to be the person who actually helps people settle down and think a little bit more clearly. If you can't be that.
Tough though, because then I'd imagine to a certain degree, you've got to calm yourself down. You
That's
can't
what I
calm
was
down
going to
other
ask
people until you calm
Yeah,
you
because you know, you probably have a lot of pride in your
Sure.
client, right, or whoever you're representing. Or because if someone were to say something about the station or the station, yeah, I would feel emotional about it, right?
Yeah. Well, you want to feel those things. I mean, authenticity is huge. And so when you think about this, you want to be able to take that emotion and channel it, but you don't want to channel it in a nervous way. You want to channel it in a constructive way. And so is it hard? Yes, but that's part of why we do what we do.
I'm so curious at how you see other PR situations through the prism of your expertise. I always tell people, you know, whenever I visit another town in the States, I'll turn on local TV stations because I just want to see how do they do things? What is their station? What does their set look like? When you see a PR crisis in another company with a celebrity, is it interesting to see it not as an outsider because you're in the business, but just sort of see it as someone else's problem? Oh, it's curious to see how they're handling it.
Yeah, it actually is always interesting. And part of the reason it's so interesting is because the world has changed so much over the past few years, right? I think that there was a routine that people took in terms of how they approached crisis even just 5-6 years ago, pre-pandemic, right? The world in that time has become more divided. We are bombarded by more inputs, more information, and that information we receive is from so many different sources, and just the things that can happen have seemed so much more chaotic, right? You may find out that your brand is called out by the President of the United States when you wake up in the morning, and that call is very different.
I was about to say, yeah, that's an interesting phone call to get.
That's exactly right. So when I watch other people do it, I think it's fascinating because I learn every day when I watch people go through these things that have never actually been tackled before. And a lot of what the book attempts to distill is, in this world that is faster, messier, tougher than it was before, how are we now taking a look at the things that we have to do, both from a leadership standpoint, from a communication standpoint, and from a governance standpoint, to ensure that we're navigating this and coming out stronger, ideally, on the other side.
So what is this? Is this taking us through like your journey, like for instance with Boeing and that situation, or is it kind of your whole career or different examples of PR nightmares and the lessons that have been learned through that?
Yeah, well, the book attempts to do 2.5 things.
Okay.
The first half of the book really focuses on how we got here. It's an analysis of the moment and kind of really goes into, you know, some of the trends that have led to where we're at, and also what are the things like the, you know, advent of AI that has really disrupted the way that we approach so much of this, both as a force for good and as a force for harm, right? Then it takes us into this kind of interlude that really focuses on, well, what are the fundamentals that have not changed about how we approach crisis and the things that we really need to continue to hold on as leaders in these moments. And then the back half is all about what's changed and what do we do now, right? How do we look to the future and figure out what does it actually look like to perform well in these moments in ways that are going to be probably with us for at least the next 5 to 10 years.
I want to zero in on something you're talking about because I'm really curious as to the difference between what a PR nightmare looked like in 2026 versus maybe what it looked like in 1996, because we're getting information from so many different places now. So if a company has a PR nightmare, I might see it from 50 different sources on my phone, but then also to a degree feels like we also move by them quicker. Like it's the hottest thing on Wednesday and Thursday, but by Friday we're on to something else. So is it easier or harder today to get past a PR nightmare than maybe it was 30, 40 years ago?
Well, it actually all depends on the nature of that nightmare, right? I think one of the things that I argue the most strongly for in the book is understanding who your stakeholders actually are, the ones that can impact your license to operate within the next 90 days, right? If you pay attention to everyone, you have a tendency to get caught up in the noise, and actually these are people who can't impact your organization or your business. But if you understand clearly, number one, what do people who actually have the ability to move the needle for your business think about you? What are they thinking about the thing that has happened, and also what have you said in the past? Then it helps you really determine what matters, because that clarity and consistency is key.
Okay, so I want to follow up on that because the thing that always blows my mind is whenever a company's dealing with something, the amount of people all of a sudden that have become enraged.
Yeah.
Like if M&M's decided that they were going to get rid of the green M&M, the amount of people who would just be, people who I've never heard talk about M&M's in their life are now all of a sudden really upset that there's no, so what is that balance of like, yeah, a lot of people are yelling online, but they don't actually, it's performative. They don't actually care. Like how can you tell when someone cares and when someone doesn't?
I will say two things to that. One, I can tell now you spend a lot of time with the celebrity world, because I think you always have to write into your contract only green M&Ms.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. You got to have it in the rider.
Got to have it in the rider.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what I will say about the question, and it's a really, really good question, is sometimes it actually doesn't matter, right? I mean, whether the person actually cares when they're outraged or they're able to actually just mobilize a group to care, if they didn't care in the first place and it was a utility play for them, you still have to respond. And the way that you respond is going to be entirely determined by, is the thing that is being accused of me something that is going to hurt my reputation? And the things that you are vulnerable to, right? When I think about this, is really a question of what are the things that, when said about me, if believed, are going to keep people from buying my products, walking through my stores. You take Target, for example, right? When you think about the change that they made around DEI and some of the things they were doing on diversity and inclusion, it hurt them. And part of the reason it hurt them was because people knew that brand as an organization that really invested a lot in Black-owned businesses and LGBTQ issues. And when they actually pulled back on some of those policies, the real or perceived impact of that caused people to say, I now don't know this company. And actually this is so critical, because people can accept disagreeing with you. What they cannot accept is hypocrisy.
Sure.
Bradley, this has been so interesting. Unfortunately, we're getting the wrap, so we have to continue this conversation, hopefully off air, or have you back at some point. Where can people get your book if they're interested?
Yeah, you can grab it on Amazon. You can grab it anywhere books are sold, Barnes & Noble. But really, really appreciate the time. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. It's a great conversation, man. It's really, really fascinating.
Faster, messier, tougher.
I love it.
Great
I love
title.
it. Story of my life. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you. You look fantastic. Seriously, thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it so much.
All right, guys, we'll be right back. Chicago Plus. Welcome back, 11:37. You're watching Chicago Now. I think it's fair to say, we've been doing this show for a while now. I think it's fair to say our next guest is on, I think, the Mount Rushmore of Chicago Now guests.
Yes,
I go as far as saying a friend of the show.
Yeah.
You know, and I for a while was taking it personally because I never got to be the one to interview him. And at a certain point, you start to think he's avoiding me. Well, avoid me no longer, Tommy Davidson, because you are with us live. And I finally get to talk with you, sir. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I'm not in Chicago now, as you can see, but I'll be in Chicago then.
Yes, April 12th. It's going to be a great show, and it's for a great cause. Tell people a little bit about the show that's happening over at Chicago Improv.
Well, it's Q Sci-Fi fraternity raising money for scholarships, you know, and for something good. You guys are on a roll this morning. You got a guy who brought in a book that's helping people deal with what's going on right now, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'm being a part of something that is that's my damn dog. I'm being a part. I'm a part of the contribution to good that's happening now. You know, there's a lot of lukewarm, kind of bad, good things happening, but the best part is we are okay. You know, we're okay. Problems have come to this country how many times, and we seem to just overcome it in time. And so, confidently going there to be doing scholarships at the same time all this other stuff is going, then I'm really doing my job. My job is to dispense happiness. You know, so that's a good thing. And Chicago's a great city. I'll see you guys at the Super Bowl next year, I'm sure. and you got to go through my Vikings first, but.
That's a whole different other interview, Tommy Davidson.
Yeah.
We could do a whole half hour
tomorrow, then.
on why I don't think your Vikings are going to be a problem for a while, but that's a whole other conversation.
I just spurred a whole 2-day conversation, especially with Chicago.
You're exactly right.
Don't mess with the Bears.
Exactly right.
Yeah. What did Davidson say?
And you know we're going to bring this up, you know, whenever we make the Super Bowl. Hey, listen, really quick, I want to follow up on something you touched on, which is doing good and giving back. And Jack Lemmon used to say, when you're at the top, send the elevator back down. And there are a lot of comedians that would be perfectly fine doing their job, making people laugh, cashing the check, and moving on with their life. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so I'm really curious at what point something made you go, that's not enough for me. I got to I'm doing great. I'm at a great point in my life, but I want to do something a little bit more. I want to send the elevator back down.
Well, you know, it's pretty much how I came into the world. You know, I was abandoned as an infant in the trash. My mom found me there, almost dead. I was nursed back to health in like 60 days and lived. Moved to Washington, D.C. in 1968 during the riots, right after King got shot. And I didn't know my family was white, and I didn't know I was black. So I spent most of my childhood dealing with both. You know, and the one thing that came apparent to me was that there was people around me that loved me no matter what color they were. You know, and there were a lot of people around me that hated me because of color. You know, and I found out that was really stupid. And I still feel that way. I used to think, you know, as a child, I grew up in Laramie, Wyoming, and in Fort Collins, Colorado, and farms and all this stuff, you know. And I used to think people were like litters of kittens or litters of dogs. You know, a black dog can have 3 white puppies, an orange one, a gray one. You know, a cat can have kittens and it'd be 2 black ones and a white one. You know what I mean? So I thought we were like that. And then when I find out that we were calling each other the wrong colors, because my mom would say, well, when people your color don't like us, then that's what they say. And I was like, well, what color are you? They said white. I said, no, you're like beige, because I learned my colors from the crayons. And then when they said, well, people like you, when they don't like us, they say that. And I said, well, what color am I? They say black. I said, no, I'm brown. So I thought that was really stupid the whole time. And now, given a chance to look at it all, I got a great job is what I have. You know, I got a great job. I started at IHOP, bussing tables because my mom said, you got to get out this house because you're doing things that I don't approve of. You know, she said, there's 3 ways you can make money. You can inherit it, which is what the black community isn't going to do. Or you can steal it, which is like stealing from us, people with the same income. Or you can work for it. And it dawned on me, oh, I'm a worker like the Europeans came here. I'm a worker like we came here. I'm a worker like the Polish and the German, and you know, and I'm a part of this. I'm not outside of humanity. I'm a part of humanity. And that's the beautiful thing about what we have. It's not ever overshadowed because we can't get away with it. We just can't get away with it. No matter where you go, when you cut the cake, you know, there's all kind of frosting inside.
I love, what a great metaphor. That was
exactly.
fantastic.
I think a lot of lessons could have just
just taken from that
2-minute stretch
that
there.
sound
Thank
meal.
you for sharing some of your history with us. I had no idea, but you know what? It makes a lot of sense just knowing your career, all that you've done. Have you been able to still carry that even as, you know, an adult into a long, prosperous career that you've had, to not see technically in color, right? To know that you need to give back, that you still continue to work hard.
Oh yeah, the irony is that you know, I'm at a tender age to know my purpose. At 62, that's pretty. You know, I'm not on the stairway yet.
You
know?
look great.
But,
look fantastic.
But yeah. Thank you. But it's just an apparent and obvious reality. You know that. You know, we all want the same thing. So, you know, one of my missions is to start calling us mankind, because that might make us be a little kinder instead of humans racing for resources, you know? So, you know, we're not going to be perfect coming in here, you know, but we sure do damn sure try. And that's what it's all about. Now, if you look at our menu, if you look at the way we eat in this country, you'll know what we're made of. We got pastrami, we got curry, we got hummus. We got all these things from everywhere, man. Where'd all that come from? It came from within. And you know, Chicago's a good example of that.
I was just about to say, Chicago's the perfect example of that.
Man, you got deep dish Italian. You got pastrami, the real thing.
Yep.
You got Greek. You got Central American and Mexican. I mean, it's like, you try Chicago, boy. You know, and then they got traditional hot dogs and hamburgers.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Well, listen.
You can't go wrong.
You're going to have your choice whenever you're here at Chicago Improv. Tell people a little bit about the show that they can expect whenever they come out.
Well, one of the things you wouldn't expect is that I could all of a sudden turn into a Barack Obama, and it can happen so fast it would make your head turn. But don't turn your head, because it's not actually me. It's Tommy. And then you know, speaking of Italians, you know, Stallone is one of my favorites. You know what I mean? And I think that pastrami sandwiches are something that is a part of the tradition. You know, I've been in a lot of movies. I mean, Rocky and all the movies, and I spent most of those in designer jeans. So I'm just giving it up to Chicago. And just saying, have a good one. And it's not a second city. It's one of our first cities. Adrian! Yeah, the Bears!
I have to ask, when you can nail an impression like that, is it kind of accidental that you stumble upon it? Or is that something like you're Barack Obama? Did that take you time to get there? Or one day did you go, oh, I can do this?
There's a machine in my head that if I hear something enough, I can do it. I can do it just right on the numbers. My mother used to, when I was a kid, she used to go, would you shut that up? And then she looked on TV and Al Jarreau was actually singing just like me. She said, do that again. You might have something there, you know? So and everything we are is in us. Everything we are is in us, man. We already got what we need. So let's just make sure we share it, man.
Really quick, we got just about a minute left. Have you ever heard back from someone who you've done an impression of, but that they thought it was either great or like, oh, they didn't like that too much?
Yeah. It happened for a couple of seconds. Now, I was sitting across from Sugar Ray Leonard in an interview. You know, so I started doing him. You know, Tommy Hearns is a puncher, but he really, really got long arms. And I try to use big words to fake it like I can really talk. And so he looked at me for a second like, and I was like, I forgot this guy knocks people out. What's wrong with me? You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
Of all the people to tick off, Sugar Ray Leonard is not.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Tommy.
Man. Yeah, man.
My goodness.
I love this city, man. You got so much to offer you. Sam Cooke, Quincy Jones, Dick Gregory, the 5 Stair Steps. I mean, Walter Payton. You know, South Side, East Side, Isaiah.
Well, whenever you come, you're welcome to
Common.
stay. You don't have to leave whenever you come.
That's true. We'll take you in.
I'll leave right about the end of September.
Fair. You know what? You got to earn. You can't do that. That's the cheater's way out. You want to enjoy Chicago and the spring and the summer. Earn that, man. You got to earn it.
Yeah. You want it? Put your ski coat on and get on the tee.
Exactly right. Tommy Davidson, Chicago Improv, April 12th. Get tickets where you get your tickets, and guaranteed to be a great show. And it's for an amazing cause. Tommy, we love having you on the show, sir.
Love to be here, man. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I finally got to talk to him.
You know, it makes sense. Someone so expressive, you know, it seems natural. To have that
of course.
Talent. To also be an impressionist on top of it.
But also the story.
Music career, an actor, a comic. I mean, he's got it all.
The story that he has is unreal. I'm with you. I was
incredible.
unfamiliar with that story.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have him on again. Tommy, if you're listening,
come back.
See you soon.
Come back.
All right after this, we have more trending topics.
And we've got some good ones.
Yes,
really good
including
ones.
one that's, well, I don't want to give it up, actually, because I did more research on it.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you after this.
Oh, I'm really curious.
Chicago Now. 11:51 already? Really?
Flying by.
My goodness.
Flying by.
We just had Tommy Davidson on the show. He's going to be at Chicago Improv on April 12th, so looking forward to that.
Great conversation.
But we have to get to some trending topics, as we typically do.
And there's one that is making you very excited.
I don't know. Yeah, I should
Is excited
say
the wrong word? I don't know what it is.
Now it's going to be weird after I say the headline first, but it's a little extra research that I did. Okay, so it's really disturbing.
Okay.
Let's start with that, all right? I don't want anyone to think I find joy in this. But a family discovered possible human remains while hunting for Easter eggs at a park in Long Beach, California.
This is the one you wanted to make sure that we did?
Hold on, okay? First, we'll set this up. I don't know if we have any visuals, but the Long Beach Police Department responded to the scene on April 5th around 5 p.m. local time. So this is what it looked like. Pretty much, it seems to be a skull.
Okay.
Pretty much popping out of the ground there. Okay. Obviously, and maybe some other bones too. And it says possibly, unfortunately, belonging to a small child. So authorities have not released further details about the remains or how they were found, but they are going to be talking to a forensic anthropologist team involved. And that's the overhead video. But obviously, among the colorful Easter eggs, that would stand out, and the only reason maybe people are really looking around and looking closely and were able to find it is because they're searching the ground, looking at these little crevices in the park. But obviously, witnesses described it as the family found it freaking out.
Okay.
Which is totally accurate, I would say. So this is what I found out, because I'm like, I want to see a visual of this park, because I was just reading the card. I'm like, I'm going to look this up. So I did, and then it brought me to a TikTok video, or many of the TikTok videos saying that people have paranormal experiences at this park fairly often.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a couple of, quote unquote, I don't know how accurate it is, paranormal investigators who've gone there with their little, radios and such. Yeah. And try to gather the voices. But some of what people have reported, through their paranormal experiences, was like just really cold gusts of winds on a really hot afternoon or night. So, that's weird. But then a couple people have reported that there was a ghost/zombie looking figure that chased them. Yeah, and it wasn't like, and I think one of the videos said that it wasn't necessarily someone who would seem to make that up, like not like a teenage kid who's like, oh, I swear, like a zombie chased me. But like, instead, older folks, maybe people who were just like happened to be walking around the neighborhood at that park. That had these paranormal experiences. Isn't that creepy?
Have you ever experienced anything?
Well, actually, I think I was haunted by cats once.
The movie?
No.
The musical?
That too.
Right.
That too. I mean, that also haunted me. And I only watched a little bit of that movie because it was freaky.
Really bad.
It was too freaky. No, I actually was. I was thinking about this recently, but I think when I was a kid, I was at my grandma's house, and it was like one that she was only in for like maybe 5 or so years, and I remember waking up and being surrounded by a cat ghosts or figures. And maybe I thought for a long time I was just dreaming, but then looking back, I'm like, wait, why did that haunt me so much? Like, it must have had such a real feeling to it. So maybe I was
not expecting that story.
I was haunted by some cats. I think. I'm almost pretty sure. Have you ever had a paranormal experience?
I don't know. I'm pretty skeptical when it comes to that stuff. I will tell you, I went to shoot a story in Estes Park, Colorado one time at the Stanley Hotel. Are you familiar with the Stanley Hotel?
Yes, it's based off what movie?
Well, it is the hotel that Stephen King stayed in that inspired him to write The Shining.
Okay, yes.
The what? The Stanley. Yeah.
Stanley.
It's great. It's a beautiful hotel, Estes Park. Yeah, it's great.
I was in that downtown area, so
it's
I saw
beautiful,
it on the hill.
it's not where they shot the movie. It's what inspired him.
But
actually, if you've ever wanted to see it, it's the hotel from Dumb and Dumber.
Is it
it's
really?
The hotel where they check in at Dumb and Dumber.
Is it really? That's funny.
Where he goes downstairs. Here's what I'll tell you. They took us on a tour because it was when the Shining sequel came out. And they brought us like in the basement, and they were in a room, and they said like there was like 5 of us in the room. And again, I'm a skeptic, so I'm always like, okay, what was behind the door or whatever. But they were telling this story about, creepy things always happen in this room. And in that moment, the door to the room slammed shut. Could it be the wind? Could it be, I immediately I'm like looking at the door. I'm like, okay, where's the thing? Where's the button? Where's the,
How did the person who was giving the tour react to that?
Scared, just startled.
Scared.
Yeah, everybody was.
But
everybody
did it seem
was.
actually real?
Yeah, but also, here's the thing. I am skeptical, but I want to believe in stuff like that. Like, I want to be scared. I love haunted houses.
Well, no, you can't say that out loud because that's going to attract paranormal activity into your life. Really?
I'd like to think it's positive. I think if you're a good person, bad things aren't going to.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But I've also heard too many times that if you verbally attracted into your life, it'll come into your life.
Well,
watch your back, Jake.
You on TikTok?
Watch your back. The cats are coming.
Could be a good day.
The cats are coming.
Okay.
They're coming.
All right.
They're real.
All right. I'm just popping around I'm popping around to different topics. I think this is interesting. How many seasons is too many? And the reason we're bringing that up is because, good Lord, it's still on the air.
What is it?
Grey's Anatomy just got renewed for its 23rd season.
But
at this point, it's almost like a primetime soap opera, right? Like it's not the same show that it always was. So I don't know. I'm a big believer of wrap it up sooner rather than, Breaking Bad was 5 seasons and it was perfect.
Well, like we said, we've been saying how it seems like there's a natural ending to The Bear right now.
Yes, and it is, and it's wrapping up, Yeah. Lost was 6 seasons. Listen, as long as you're not trying to tell one story, like Grey's Anatomy is telling, it's the story of the hospital. It's not the story of these people, it's the story of the hospital.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you're telling a story of people, then you got to wrap that up. But speaking of wrapping things up,
that's what we're going to do
right
this moment.
We had so many other topics, including...
That's our take on the trending topic, at least for today. Trust me, we'll have more tomorrow.
Noon show's coming up. Hey, I'm on that. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News.